Welcome to this installment of our Risks in Focus series. I'm Sean Moynihan, Executive Managing Editor of National Underwriter Property and Casualty. And we're here at the St. Augustine Alligator Park to zip line over crocodiles. I think the crocodiles are hungry.
We've had different carriers through the years. The last carriers we had lasted several years until we put in a zip line.
What is it about zip lines that makes them such a hard to place risk?
Reinsurance is what makes it hard to place, and because the carriers we had reinsurance exclusions to it. So they would have had to had an exception made by the reinsurer in order to cover this risk. And those exceptions would not be granted. So we had to market it and replace it. The marketing was really one of vetting the construction and the safety protocols that have pretty well been established. If you'd like to know any risk management questions, I would suggest to speak with Scott Brown. Scott built this course.
Scott, this sort of highly physical activity certainly has danger inherent to it. What are the steps you take to mitigate risks and limit the chances of people getting hurt while they're on the course?
Proper training prior to them getting on the course, assessing their physical abilities before we ever get them signed up, checking for braces, bandages, obvious physical issues before they get going, making sure they pay attention during their safety briefing, proper operation of their equipment. They only get 3 chances to properly demonstrate use of their gear and to brake properly on the zip lines. If they don't properly demonstrate useful knowledge, then we give them a refund and we send them home. They can come back another day. Because of the location of this adventure park, you only get 1 safety warning. Other places you get several. Second safety warning regardless of the infraction. We're taking you off the course. We spend anywhere from an hour to 2 hours every single day on an inspection. Everybody's going to get a little bump or a bruise here and there, given the elements that are on the course. A lot of things move up there. It's no different than the common 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy playing out in the backyard. They come in with bruises all over their shin bones. It's part of being a kid. And a bump or a bruise or a small scrape is part of this type of adventure.
Scott knows what he's doing. He helped build the course itself. He analyzes the thing to the point that it seems like minutia. He's got this little meter that's measuring the size of the cable, but you can't just look at a cable and know whether it's good enough anymore. You have to have some real mechanics behind it. The zip line's been good for us because it's attracted a different audience. You know, my core audience prior to the zip line was moms with kids. What the zip line did is it brought a different audience. It brought the teenagers and young 20-somethings that want to go out and physically do something. Not just play a video game on the couch, not just wander around and look at animals, but get up and actually exert themselves. And you got to know that zip lining over animals isn't the most dangerous thing we do. You know, we work with king cobras and we work with all 23 species of crocodilians and some of the biggest crocodiles in the United States. We work with a 15-foot, 3-inch saltwater crocodile. That's not an easy thing to find insurance for, and that's what we depend on Tommy to do for us. He helps us locate the insurance and helps the insurance people understand what we do and how well we do it. You know, we actually do the crocodile stuff so well that we teach a course to other zoo professionals every year. And so once the insurance folks understand really what's happening in our park and that we choose to do everything with excellence, it's a little bit easier to get that insurance.
And as the general manager, what are some of the risks that keep you up at night?
Honestly, I sleep really well because I try to eliminate those risks at all costs. If it's something that I'm sitting around worried about, then I'm gonna find a manager of that area and figure out how I don't have to worry about it anymore.
And I imagine the guests are pretty safe with the animals, but with the workers themselves, that's probably where the biggest risks are. How do you train the workers so that when they're handling those dangerous critters that they don't get hurt?
Sure. Well, training of an employee here is not a simple 3-day process. If they're working up high or they're working with a venomous snake, that's something that has several pages of checks that they have to accomplish before they can do that without direct supervision or at all.
We have monthly training. They all have to properly demonstrate just about every scenario you can come up with to get people down and evacuate them off the course. If they cannot properly demonstrate those skills, I no longer have need for their services. They will be let go at that time.
Last question. What's the most dangerous animal at the zoo?
It's called a cassowary, and it looks like a colorful ostrich, really. And honestly, I'd rather catch 15 crocodiles than mess with that bird.